afternoon, everyone. If you're like where I am or further east, it's a wonderful afternoon here in Missouri. It's cold outside, but it's sunny, and the sun always is a joy, particularly in January when it's like super gross outside. In a few minutes, I'm going to be joined by Elizabeth from the Fit Singer. Oh, I see her there. Let me see if I can bring her on. Or talk and do this at the same time. Hey there, how are you? I'm so glad that you're here. All right, sorry. Thank you for great. There she is. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
Hi, Heather. I'm fine. How are you
Doing
doing?
pretty well. A little draggy, not gonna lie today. I'm like, there's not enough caffeine in the world for me today, apparently. So I'm just feeling it's the last day of my work week because I always take Thursdays off. And so it's just like, kind of the end of the work week has like slammed me in the face today.
Oh, well, that's nice to have an early finish to the week.
Yeah. I mean, I pick back up on Friday, but I take off
Yeah.
Thursdays. This is kind of a silly reason, but particularly in the summers, I go to a theme park a lot of times for my days off to ride roller coasters and stuff. And Thursdays are one of the like the slowest days as far as crowds are concerned. Because people are working, or if it's during the fall or the spring, they're in school, so I have shorter lines when I want to ride the roller coaster. So since I get to design my week, I picked Thursday for my day off.
Yeah, well, no, that's great. That's the benefit of having your own business. And
Absolutely.
we used to absolutely do that when my kids were small, and we'd always end up going camping midweek,
Mhm.
like Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'd work the other days just because it would be just too busy on the weekends.
Right, right. So yeah, that's one of the definite benefits of being a business owner that I have found,
Mhm.
and I enjoy it very much. All right, so Elizabeth, I previewed you in like posts when I was, kind of yesterday when I posted that we are going to have this conversation, that you have a group and a business that you call the Fit Singer. But I would love if you would just kind of tell me and tell everybody who's watching, like who you are, who your clients are, and what you do, and anything fun that you have coming up.
Okay. Well, um, yeah, I started the Fit Singer actually when I started being interested in health for singers, because I found for myself I had so many issues, from 20 years of chronic back pain to a lot of inflammatory conditions. Like I would get sick at least every 6 weeks with long lingering coughs. I had digestive issues. I was even had the start of
Mm.
osteoarthritis happening, and all this. And then through uh, exercise, movement, and nutrition, and a few other things along the way, I have gotten rid of everything.
Oh wow, fun.
And 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 even just now I'm 57 years old. I'm still doing triathlon training. I feel very, I don't feel tired. Um, I don't get afternoon slumps anymore. So, all that sort of stuff that get that affects so many people. And then as a singer as well, I just noticed the change in my voice as well. How I had more power, I had more freedom, my top notes would float so much more easily. And so I started to figure this all out and put it all together, and have come up with a couple of programs under the umbrella of the Fit Singer for busy singers who want to look after their wellness in a very holistic way.
Mhm.
So I'm not just looking at body work. I'm not just looking at breathing. I'm not just looking at nutrition. It's the whole shebang.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
So it is very, and it's giving singers the tools they need for a lifetime of healthy habits. So
Mhm.
that's what my hope is, to help singers future-proof their voice,
Oh,
as one of my
yeah.
clients had said, that this is like, so that they can, you know, not get sick as often, maybe even reduce the risk of vocal
Mm-hmm.
injuries, because a lot of those happen because there is already inflammation in the body that, you know, will put you at greater risk. Um, so, so yeah, by keeping all these things under control and managing your stress levels, especially stress is especially in this time, everyone's feeling so stressed out. But
Mm-hmm.
stress in itself is something that, so my main signature program is called the Resilient Singer Method.
Mm-hmm.
And it is about building resiliency for singers and helping reduce stress and building up what I call a stress reserve,
Mm-hmm.
which is your body's capacity to handle stress. So, so many programs, we're learning to do things to deal with the stress that's coming at
Mm-hmm.
us. But some of these, and some of them will do a little bit towards healing the body as well.
Yeah.
But quite often it's sort of more of a band-aid approach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what I do is get like right to the core of what is causing stress and how, and I have a stress assessment in my program. So we go through like about 6 areas that would be causing stress in life,
Mm-hmm.
physical, emotional, mental stress, even like things like how what you're eating. Yeah, we talk about systemic inflammation, um, you know, anything that's uh, could be signs of stress coming into your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get to the root cause of it, and we build up through that, ways in which we can deal with the stress, heal the body, and also make sure the body has reserves so that when the stress comes and starts chipping away at you, that your body is not going to break down. Because that's so often is like, if you think that we have this level here, and above this is your stress reserve. And so if we're not replenishing that, slowly going down, 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 and when we get to that level or below, that's when we really start to feel um, the effects of stress, as far as, you know, we're getting sick or we're getting migraines, or, you know, things are happening to us. So so by making sure we're topped up above this base level, you know, and even maybe even getting higher, so that we have plenty of reserve and we can be feeling great and
Mm-hmm.
wonderful all the time.
That's the goal, I think. I'm mostly a lurker, but I'm a member of your Facebook group, the Fit Singer Community, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But and your email list. But I think they're both really really fantastic. You write really great emails, you know, that are informative and have good links and stuff like that. So I would encourage people to get on your email list and consider joining the Facebook group. You know, like I don't, like I said, I don't interact a lot, but I lurk. Like I see things that pop up, and I think that there's a lot of good information in there. And it's a supportive community too. There are people, you know, when people ask questions, they get good information, and it's not a group where you're going to get piled on if you have a question or something going on. So I think you're doing a great job of moderating that right now. So good for you. That's hard work.
Yeah, and so if anyone does want to join me on Facebook, it's the Fit Singer Community. And if you do want to join my email list, I have a couple of freebies that come that you could sign up for, which is one is, well, actually, I think I have 3 on the go right
Mhm.
now. So one is top tips for reducing tension and boosting energy for
Mhm.
singers. Another one is just a general singer's wellness checklist, so you can make sure you're doing some of the main things that will help set you on the path to a healthier singing
Mhm.
lifestyle.
I got that one.
And
That's the good one.
then, okay. Yeah. And then I also have, which this actually, your theme this week is sinuses.
Mhm.
So this one might be of interest to people who are following you about sinuses this week, but I have an allergy uh, cheat sheet.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that's
so with some tips about,
you're right. My focus on my socials and in the blog and my email that went out this week was on sinuses, particularly like when sinuses attack, and really focusing on being able to tell the difference between allergies and the sinus infection because they can have similar symptoms in some respects. I mean, they overlap a little bit, but there are some also some differences. So knowing which you're dealing with, or if you're one of those unfortunate souls that may have to have both at the same time, you know, that way if you know the difference, you can get to better treatment or better symptom management faster, and you don't have to waste time on things that aren't going to work. um, so yeah, that
yeah.
could be really fun. All right, you mentioned it already a little bit about the Resilient Singer program. Um, uh, and who, like, just to nail it down a little bit more, like, who is your ideal client for that particular program?
Well, it's busy singers who want to reduce stress and tension so that they can find more vocal freedom and concentrate on their artistic ability rather than worrying about what their voice is going to do once they're on
Mhm.
stage.
So, beyond, do you, and forgive me that I just don't know this, but do you work on singing at all during that program? Beyond like working on the other things, because you're obviously a voice teacher, you teach, and you're a high level classical singer. Um, and so, what would someone expect if they were to join that program?
Okay, so the main pillars are, I have, I guess, five main pillars to it. It's a 3-month program. And there is a workout aspect program and a myofascial release
Mm-hmm.
library so we do a personalized um, movement assessment to see what myofascial areas you need to work on more. And I have a full library to prescribe something for someone in that. And then the workouts are weekly and progressive, and they are specifically designed for singers to help improve alignment and help with building stamina and just balancing the body. And most people that I've had go through the program just absolutely love this aspect of it, that yeah, it's short workouts too. They're only 20 to 30 minutes, and yet people they're feeling stronger, they're feeling more energized with it, and they just don't have to think either.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
all doing home body weight work.
Right.
So,
One of your
so that's
emails
one
not too long
aspect.
ago had a link to a YouTube video that you had done with like 5 core exercises for singers. And so that was one
Yes.
of the benefits that came in your email list a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So, and then the other pillar is nutrition. So we do spend quite a bit of time on nutrition. What is good nutrition? How to incorporate it into your busy lifestyle. So I give lots of tips on, if people who are, working all day have to run off to rehearsals or performances at night, whatever, and don't have time for a proper meal, how they can incorporate things so that they aren't grabbing the fast food or skipping meals or whatever, which are going to sabotage their
Mhm.
voice and health in the end. So we have that as part of the nutrition aspect and meal planning, and um, and there's group coaching every week as well, so face-to-face coaching, and there's a couple of one-on-one sessions that I do with everyone as well, so that you do have a high level of support through this. It's not just a do-it-yourself, go for it and hope for the
Yeah.
best. I make sure everyone is on track with where they want to be. And then the other thing is we do a lot of stress management work. So the stress management, some of it is just life skills as well, as such as time management, as well as doing some mindfulness work and meditation practices. And then I do have a vocal component to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not actually singing, but I do give some semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, straw exercises in there, as well as how to plan your singing schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So how to, if you have rules to prepare for, how you can plan it ahead of time so that you're not trying to do everything at the last minute or taking on too heavy a load. I mean, this happens so much in fall now when so many companies and singers were going back into the theaters and they're singing these full roles, but they had spent a year and a half basically not singing, and they're just not vocally ready for it because, you need to build up that stamina and that endurance. So as part of the Resilient Singer method, I teach how to do that as well in an effective way and to incorporate rest times and that sort of thing as well, so that there's the vocal health aspect as well as the whole physical health aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we also talk about sleep. That's another big thing, that sleep and singers as shift workers, because we are basically shift workers. And some of us are double shift workers. We have a day job and then we go off in the evening to either rehearsals or performances, or sometimes it's a swing shift where we have normal work hours during the week and then the weekend is performances, and which are in the evening, going late into the night sometimes. And so how can we deal with that? So I give some tips and strategies for that as well.
Yeah.
So basically that's the whole program in a nutshell.
Yeah, and obviously we didn't say this explicitly, but you're in Canada, and so and I'm in Missouri. So like if I wanted to work with you, like the whole program is online, so you meet online. And I think you said it's a 3-month program, so it would be like, weekly-ish meetings or whatever for 3 months.
Yeah, that's exactly
awesome.
It.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know as a part of your...
I have a student in Missouri right now.
Well, it's really cold out right now, at least cold for me. It's in the 20s or something like today, Fahrenheit. Of course, we use Fahrenheit because of American exceptionalism, but it's going to be like super cold tomorrow, but it's at least sunny. And that just, as long as there's sun and I can stay inside, I can deal with just about anything.
Yeah. No, we've been having, it's been wind chills. It feels like -40. And -40 is the same Celsius, Fahrenheit.
I know. Anything negative is like, no. That should be totally illegal. And I know, one of the topic that I'm going to be talking about next week is about singing and depression, and particularly in the winter months, with like seasonal affective disorder, or, even if it's not a full-blown disorder for you, or for anyone, like just the winter months and the lack of sunlight, or the lessened sunlight that we have in the Northern Hemisphere can impact a person. You might find yourself under more, having effects of stress just because of the way it looks outside. And so I can see how, particularly having some of that stress reserve in the winter months, if you are affected by things like that, because I tend to be at least somewhat affected. I can see how having a bigger stress reserve in the winter months can be of benefit when you know that some of those stressors are going to be coming at you.
Yeah, well, that's actually a really good point about having that reserve when it comes. And so, even getting sick, like this time of year, I always get asked to be a guest to write a blog or something about how do we stay healthy during the winter? Well, it has to start before the winter.
Yeah.
Now is not. I mean, you can maybe do little quick Band-Aid solutions again, or try whatever popular remedy seems to be out there, and it may or may not work.
Mhm.
But if you really are wanting to build up these reserves to last you through the winter, yeah, it has to start spring, summer. It has to be part of your lifestyle so that even when the hard times come, and that's the thing, I mean, stress happens to all
Mhm.
of us. Um, it's not something that we can be impervious
Mhm.
to. And so it's just if we have the reserve, we're more able to bounce back from it or not feel the effects of it as keenly. I mean, emotionally, probably still, we go
Mhm.
bonkers too
Right.
with, whatever is going on,
Mhm.
if, I mean, I've had a few personal tragedies in my life since I started on this
Mhm.
journey. But I think that if I didn't have some of these tools and techniques, I would have been so much worse off.
Mhm.
And, and I do know I can even see the difference between other family members who weren't following the same kind of
Mhm.
lifestyle, how it's affected them more deeply than it has the ones that are living a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you can see that difference. It's not just genetic, because even within the same family, you see
Mhm.
differences happening.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's such an important point too, because we can do our best to prepare, and I think that's really important to prepare for the hard times because we can't prevent them necessarily. There are going to be times that you just get sick. Through whatever. Maybe you catch a cold, or maybe your appendix decides to blow up one day, or something that you just cannot avoid, or something happens that is going to be an emotionally difficult thing. We cannot prevent those things because we're human and we're walking through a very human experience, just as we're living our lives. But being able to prepare ahead of time, knowing those times are coming, even if we don't know what they're going to be, may help us to just to have what we need in our back pocket when the time does come.
yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And as why I put so much emphasis on nutrition too
Mhm.
is for whether it's depression or immunity,
Mhm.
there's so much of it that resides in our gut. Like they say, 70 to 80% of the immune system is in the gut,
Mhm.
um, as well as so many neurotransmitters are.
Yeah.
There are more neurotransmitters created in the gut than in our
Mhm.
brain. So, gut is our second brain.
Mhm.
It's been referred to as that at times. And it's that whole gut microbiome that we want to balance out. And there have even things like performance
Mhm.
anxiety. There have been a few studies out there that I've read where people who live healthier lifestyles and eating better tend to do better with performance anxiety.
Mhm.
So, it does make a big difference in so many ways.
Mhm. Yeah, I've been working on my own nutrition through the fall, changing things up a little bit, and um, of course, I'm a foodie. I love trying all kinds of food. Like I have more cookbooks than is reasonable for one person, and I just enjoy, like looking through them and cooking through them and all of that stuff. But it has been, for me, a fun adventure as well to, try to change my nutrition to something that is, more sustainable, a little bit heavier plant based, stuff like that, but still really, really enjoying food. And I'm seeing some benefit in my life too, so that's a nice little bonus. But
Oh, that's
for
excellent.
me, the nutrition aspect has just been also just enjoying my food in a way that also feeds my body in a positive manner.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things, in the Resilient Singer method, when we go through the section on choosing what to eat.
Mhm.
Part of it is, yeah, I ask people to find 20 foods that will love you back.
Yeah.
So Because sometimes the relationships we have with food, it's just like having relationships with people. There can be really good relationships and some relationships that you may have a great affection and affinity for that person, but they might not be the best person for you because they bring some toxicity into your life. And so, so you have to decide, where do you want to put your energies, into a toxic relationship or into a healthier relationship. And I mean, with food, uh, there are some foods that probably are, you know, what one nutrition person that I follow calls red light foods.
Mm-hmm.
So they go on this, red light, yellow light, green light system. So that, like, the red light doesn't mean that you necessarily have to cut it out completely,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something like warning sign here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but finding foods that love you back, that will actually nourish you and help you with your self-nurturing. Because so often when we talk, people say self-care, and they say, yeah, my self-care is just sitting down with a tub of Ben and Jerry's tonight. And that's not really self-care. I mean, that's self-comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And rather, and so when we're talking about self-care, we want to think more of self-nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's a time and place for relaxing and enjoying yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
But in the overall scheme of things, if you are wanting to be looking to the future, to future-proof your voice, future-proof your health, then there are definitely decisions you have to make.
Mm-hmm. Now, particularly for voice teachers who may spend a whole lot of time, especially in today's world, sitting in front of a screen, sitting down on a piano bench, like back-to-back students and all the admin and all of that stuff. Sometimes you can just kind of get into a haze and you just do the work, you do the thing, you keep going. But what would you say are some clues or some signs that may be showing up in their body or their brain or their emotions or whatever, that maybe they ought to pay more attention to stress or things like that? What are some things that they may want to pay attention to?
Well, certainly if you start feeling any aches or pains, like low back pain, or sometimes you might even feel, or neck and shoulder pain and discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
are probably really good signs that you need to be moving more.
Mm-hmm.
And emotionally and just cognitively, if you find that what was easy for you to do before is not so easy, of course, that's always a good sign. If you find that you're having a little bit more brain fog, or forgetting things a little bit more, that's a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting sick more often, getting more colds and flus, and, well, heaven forbid, COVID, those things are affecting us. Yeah, and that's the thing too with the pandemic. Governments are not mentioning this enough about how a healthy lifestyle. They say, well, people with underlying conditions, but they're not saying that many of us aren't even aware that we might have underlying conditions, or consider that if we're just on one or two medications, we're okay because it's under control. Where I think the average North American is on at least 7 medications, they say. I think, like, it was a whopping number, like 80%
Mm-hmm.
of North Americans are on at least 7 medication, or 7. And of those, there are, yes, like 20% are on 12.
Wow.
And it's just,
Yeah.
and at that point, you just are taking medications to treat symptoms, and then you're taking more medications to treat the side effects of the medications you're already on, and it just becomes this whole chemical cocktail that's really not a safe place to be. And so it is another band-aid solution, really. So taking a deep look at what the underlying causes are. So if you do end up that you feel like you have to be on medication, that's also a sign that, if you've not had to be on medication and now you've been diagnosed with something and prescribed medications, that's also a sign that, okay, stress is starting to take a toll on my body.
Cool.
So,
Yeah. So, well, I want to be very respectful of your time. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you would love people to know about? Any of your programs or anything the focus that you concentrate on?
yeah, well, I also have a little 14-day program called Vocal Reset, which is, yeah, it's just, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling like you're not, or even just want to have a taste of what it is like to work with me, that's a good place to start. There's no coaching, it's just a do-it-yourself 14-day program, but it has an acid reflux friendly menu plan in there as well. So because that's something that affects many singers, as well as many stretches and a few workouts as well to get people going. But you can find all of that information on my Instagram profile. Yeah, if you click the LinkedIn thing, then there'll be a drop down with all the different goodies there. So
awesome.
And you can always DM me and ask questions. I'm always happy to ask any questions anyone may have.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you have questions, if you're watching this particularly on the replay, you can put them in the comments, because I think both you and I will get, since we're in this video together, I think we would get notifications. And if you don't, I'll be sure to pass them along. But I really appreciate your time, Elizabeth. I have enjoyed getting to know you over the last couple of years or so. We're both in the Speakeasy Cooperative, and so I've been watching your business grow and how you've been developing this program, for singers and for voice teachers. So it's real fun to kind of see how that it has come to what you have now, and you've worked really, really hard on it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thank you for having me. And I'm really enjoying watching your progress too. From the days when we were getting together on a weekly basis just to have a little chat and to see if we could keep on track. And we weren't doing too well back then. And it seems like now things are starting to move. So yeah, it's great to see that progress happening.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, if anyone is watching this later, definitely get in touch with Elizabeth and get on her email list and follow her emails and get into, if you're on Facebook, you can get into the Fit Singer community and get a lot of information that comes out on a pretty regular basis. You're pretty good at staying consistent with stuff. So thanks again for everybody who's watching. I hope you have a great day. Thanks, Elizabeth, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye.